The scene then transitions back to Cha's club, where the first thing we see is Cha's face. His lackey Yongsoo reveals that Jin came by asking to borrow the motorcycle, so he let him take it. Cha's face turns to annoyance when he realizes his only bike had been taken by our boy. His lackey then asks if he shouldn't have let Jin borrow it, to which Cha replies that it's absolutely fine. Besides, he never even rides it anyway. Yongsoo then anxiously admits that he was scared shitless when Jin showed up so late at night, and after encountering Jin so many times, all the kids in school uniforms make him jittery these days. We then see Jin zooming down the road on the heavy bike. That is when Seokju reports back, saying he's just sent the location to Jin and that the target hasn't moved for a while, so it should be accurate. Seokju looks absolutely exhausted after scrambling to prepare all the info on such short notice, and he could not help but point out that he is noticing something sketchy about the guy Jin mentioned. He seemed too aware of the surveillance cameras and kept changing directions, which can only mean one thing: he's trying to cover his tracks. He then further asks Jin who this man is and why they're tracking him down. Jin replies that it's something personal. Well, Seokju isn't surprised by this response, because he had already figured as much. Once he hangs up, he thinks to himself that Jin is definitely up to something and needs to be on the move quickly to save time, as Jin asked for the halfway point of the man's route. Seokju also reveals that he tried to gather more info on this newcomer, but couldn't find anything more about the foreigner on his own. Once Jin reaches the location, he stops and looks around, thinking that 006 must have arrived just recently, because if he had more time, he would have already attacked his family. And just as he thinks about this, the images of Daeun and his grandfather flash through his mind, and he's determined not to drag this out since he has people he needs to protect. Meanwhile, we finally see 006 preparing his guns and loading his magazine. Suddenly, his phone rings with an unknown caller. He picks up, and the caller reveals that they've just found out 001 is alive and in Korea. Before the caller can say more, 006 quickly cuts him off, saying he has been with Jin since their early training years and knows everything about him. He further explains that he just finished a job in the region and came to check if the news about Jin's survival was true. He makes it clear that he can't sit back knowing a traitor is alive and doing well. The caller then tells him he'll have to do whatever it takes to take Jin out, pointing out that there's no one better for the job than him. It turns out the caller is the same eye patch guy we've seen before. He warned 006 to be extremely careful, as Jin was called 001 for a reason. Blondie then mentions that a long time has passed since their early days, and the eye patch guy agrees, saying Jin is bound to be rusty after hiding in the shadows for so long. With that, he ends the call, saying he'll wait for good news. As soon as the call ends, Blondie glances at his phone screen, and his eyes widen as he notices Jin approaching him from behind. He scrambles to pick up his gun, but before he can do anything, Jin grabs him by the waist and slams him to the ground, leaving the gun out of reach. Both quickly get back on their feet. 006 feels clearly annoyed, and mutters that he made sure no one was following him, and wonders if it was those damn cameras that gave him away. As they face off, Blondie admits he knew Jin would come looking for him, but wants to know why he didn't waste any time, considering it hasn't been that long since they last said their goodbyes. Jin remains silent, and 06 assumes that the new version of 01 doesn't talk much either. Both then quickly dash at each other, exchanging blows with such speed that it's barely possible to see them landing. Jin finally deflects an incoming punch and throws one of his own, but Blondie sidesteps it effortlessly. However, Jin follows up with a powerful shoulder smash that sends Blondie staggering backward. Just as Jin attempts to kick him, Blondie grabs Jin's leg and slashes it down with a dagger, which is a pretty scummy move, not gonna lie. Blondie grins ear to ear, commenting that Jin's skills have actually improved even more since their last training. As Jin tends to his injured leg, Blondie lunges at him again. Jin quickly steps back, narrowly avoiding the dagger as it zooms past his throat. They engage in an intense dance of hack and slash, with Blondie doing his best to tag Jin with the blade. Eventually, Jin manages to take the dagger right into his shoulder. But before Blondie can attack again, Jin ducks down, grabs Blondie's hand, and gives it a satisfying twist, sending the dagger flying into the air. Blondie then kicks Jin in the chest, causing him to stumble. He then quickly reaches for the gun, and once he has it in hand, he tries to take aim. However, he soon gets stabbed by his own blade, which jabs into his shoulder. Blondie continues to fire a barrage of bullets, even as Jin dodges and runs around. The pistol eventually runs dry, and Blondie grits his teeth in frustration. He quickly throws the empty gun away, grabs his suitcase, and starts running. Jin is wide-eyed to see this bastard running, because if this man escapes, his family will be in danger, so he pushes through despite his injured leg and chases after him. As he dashes out of the shelter, he sees Blondie trying to flee on Jin's own bike. Jin feels hopeless when he sees his enemy getting away on his Hayabusa. His mind then flashes to the image of his beloved sister and grandpa, who are smeared in blood. However, it looks like his worries are just unwarranted, because just as Blondie seems to be getting away, someone slams the bike with their car, sending Blondie rolling over the car's roof and crashing onto the asphalt road. The car quickly comes to a stop, and Seokju steps out, asking if he should have not intervened. Jin, however, replies that he did a fantastic job,